Toyota Stadium on a gorgeous afternoon for football in the Sunshine State, and we have two Florida rivals new, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Hi everybody, Dan Hicks along with Bob Golick. At one point, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were 5-2 atop the NFC Central Division. They have now lost 3 straight, and really adding more controversy this week was who was going to start a quarterback. We know it will be Trent Dilfer, but Sam Weish will pull him if he doesn't get the job done.
Right. Well, Sam Weish has come out this week and said, hey, there's much to do about nothing. But he has proven that although the Trent Dilfer has started every game this year, he will not hesitate to pull him. He's a guy, a young guy they're hoping to develop for the future, but right now his numbers are the lowest in the NFC.
He only has 3 touchdown passes all season long, so that means Eric Rhett will see plenty of time in the backfield for Tampa Bay.
Without a doubt, Eric Rhett has been a savior for this team on the ground, and really has been a guy that has developed last week against the Lions, 144 yards. And in order for the Buccaneers to have a good day, he's going to have to keep the Jaguar defense on their heels to give Dilfer some time to throw the ball.
As for Jacksonville offense, it revolves around Mark Brunell, one of the more exciting quarterbacks in the league because he can run.
Without a doubt. Because they really haven't had a running back that has emerged to take the forefront in the run game. Brunell has taken it upon himself. Not only does he have good numbers in the passing game, but also as a runner. He is the leading rusher for the entire Jaguar team, and also is the leading rusher as for quarterbacks in the NFL. And because of that, the Buccaneers will have a spy defensive player on him all day long.
Well, there is Tom Coughlin. 18 months before Jacksonville kicked off its regular season, he knew he would be the coach. And there is Sam Weish. I don't know if you want to call him embattled, but the headlines in the paper today questioning Sam's status for the remainder of the season. And we're set for the kickoff. Jacksonville won the toss, and they will receive. And taken back in the end zone. Actually down in the end zone by Curtis Marsh, number 89. So Jacksonville will begin first down and 10 from its 20, and there is Mark Brunell averaging better than 7 yards a carry. Up front, Tony Baselli and Brian DeMarco are the rookies. Baselli out of USC and DeMarco out of Michigan State. It is a huge offensive line. Vaughn Dunbar has taken over the featured back status from James Stewart. Jackson and Givens are the wideouts, and in the 3 wideout, Desmond Howard, the former Heisman Trophy winner, will come in along with another rookie, Pete Mitchell. He comes in at the tight end position. Jacksonville with a 3-7 record. Tampa Bay at 5-5. It's across the 30, and he's got a Jacksonville first down at the 32. And setting Tampa Bay's front 4, Santana Dotson. He leads the team in sacks with 4. Brad Culpepper, Ahanotu, and Curry along up front with him. Wardell Rouse gets his first NFL start. Lonnie Martz is hurt. Kenneth Gant, the 3rd-string strong safety, gets his first start for Tampa Bay. And Magruder and Clifton Abraham come in the dime. First and 10 after the 12-yard gain by Dunbar. There's the fake to Stewart. Now rolling left, throws it out of bounds. We have Pete Mitchell in the vicinity, but incomplete.
Well, great play right off the bat. You know, they try and establish a run game in the first one, do a good job with Dunbar. Brunell that time running a boot, but Eric Curry, number 75 for the Buccaneers, a big play guy that they're hoping to develop. At number 1 back in 1993, stays home and gets in the face of Mark Brunell.
First round pick out of Alabama a couple of years ago. No farther than the 35, maybe a gain of 2 or 3. We mentioned he is now the featured back. He has been the starter the last 3 games now for James Stewart, who began the season as the starter. Stewart, of course, was the first-round pick, but they like Dunbar's toughness.
Yeah, it was back in the Cleveland game that James Stewart, who they really turned to early in the season, really wasn't performing. They pulled him out, they put Vaughn Dunbar in, and he had an immediate impact. There was immediate momentum shift in that game. Since then, they've decided, let's go with this guy. He's a little bit more physical, a little tougher.
Passing down now for Brunell out of the shotgun. Brunell gets rid of it. It is a rattler across midfield, incomplete. intended for Willie Jackson.
I'll tell you what, interesting, they moved number 75, Eric Curry, off the line, moved him into the middle, almost as a stand-up linebacker right in the middle, rushes right down the pipe into Mark Brunell's face, and he's the one that broke that pass up. It was all Eric Curry.
So on 4th down and long, that is Brian Barker, and Bobby Joe Edmonds stands back at the 26. Pretty good punt by Barker. That is into the lead. Taken by Edmonds at the 14, and he is down at about the 24, so a 10-yard return for Bobby Joe, brought down by Dave Thomas. Opening moments at Tampa Bay, we are scoreless. For now in Tampa Bay, he has started all the games. And up front, Paul Gruber making his 117th straight
start that ties a franchise record set by Leroy Selman. Eric Rett on his way to his second straight 1,000-yard season. Courtney Hawkins will start off as the third wideout. That's the way the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
will start the game, but they'll also go back to their base offense, which has Dave Moore come in as the fullback. The Bucs begin from the 24, and Dilfer to throw on 1st down, and Wayne Hawkins on the near side, incomplete. And the Jacksonville Jaguar defense, they've given up some big yards lately, but Jeff Lagerman is another one of those high-priced free agents they brought in, along with Pritchett and Don Baby. He also leads the team in sacks with 3. Keith Gilganius is back at middle linebacker. Travis Davis, the rookie, gets his first NFL start. He's the rookie out of Notre Dame, and Darren Slutstill and Dave Thomas come in as the dime backers. With his first carry, he's across the 30-yard line, brought down by James Williams. So Eric Rett, who had a second best in his career effort last week with 144 yards, trying for another 1,000-yard season, and he should be well on his way. He only needs about 200 more yards.
And there's 2 things that they need to do right now to help Trent Dilfer. One is get Eric Rett's running game going, and 2 is what they try to do on the first play. Let Trent hit some of the short passes and gain some confidence.
3rd down and a couple from the 32. Dilfer fires it in and out of the hands, or maybe it was the chest of Jackie Harris. One of the great tight ends, but unable to hang on to that one, and that'll bring up 4th down in the punting unit.
Well, you can't put this one on Trent. Trump found the guy, and, wanted to get the, especially in the middle. You've got to rifle that ball in there between these defenders, these linebackers closing quickly. Harris just did not get his hands, just did not focus on the ball. That's on Jackie Harris.
For Tampa Bay in confirmation. We apologize for the audio difficulties. Our audio signal may not be as
clear as it usually is, but we're working on that. And this punt is blocked. Reggie Roby's punt is blocked and rolls up around the 45-yard line. So the partially blocked punt by Reggie Roby sets up Jacksonville with excellent field position.
By Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered. By DirecTV.
You get as a...
Well, we'd like to welcome all of those of you who have not been with us. We have been experiencing some technical difficulties. Opening moments here at Tampa Stadium. Jacksonville and Tampa Bay scoreless with 10:38 left in the first quarter.
Holding, 79 offense, 10 yards, repeat 2nd down.
And the referee, Gordon McCarter, agreeing with you, Bob. The penalty on Wydell, the center.
Dan, I know Dave Wydell very well.
How well do you know him?
Well, if somebody was going to be called for a holding penalty early in the game, it was going to be Dave Wydell. After playing against him for a number of years, him and his brother Doug used to gang up on me. It was like a street fight out there.
So 2nd down and 19. Now the officials powwowing close to midfield.
But we will give our due to Dave Weidel. He is the oldest guy in that offensive front right there. Really has been the key to trying to get those young guys to develop. I mean, you're talking about Boselli and DeMarco at the tackles, who are rookies this year. Novak at left guard, a second-year guy. Coleman they bring in from Arizona, third-year. Weidel with 8 years of experience is the big vet right there, and really has taken control, a lot of responsibility. And for a guy who's cheap shotted me so many times, it's nice to see him faced with so much responsibility.
I sense something there.
We're friends. We had that love-hate thing going.
Second largest offensive line in the NFL now, with the addition of Ben Coleman, who goes 335 at right guard. Only the Cowboys have a beefier line, but it's the tallest in the NFL. And Brunell looks over that big line, and a nice, well, for a moment, it appeared that Pete Mitchell had it, but it is ruled incomplete. Derek Brooks on the coverage for Tampa Bay.
Mitchell had an incredible move. You're going to see him on the left side of your screen against 55, Derek Brooks, and Mitchell just made a nice move to get separation from Brooks. Brooks kind of caught flat-footed, but Mitchell, you make that nice a move, you get that sweet a route, you got to make the catch.
Coughlin, the Boston College product, 4th round pick by the Dolphins this year, but Tom Coughlin, who coached him at Boston College, picked him up. Third down now and long, 19 yards. Brunell out of the shotgun. And a far side of the field, a nice grab made at the 38-yard line by Willie Jackson, but it'll be well short of the first down. Martin Mayhew provided the coverage.
Yeah, they knew that they had a lot of yardage to get. They were just going to force him to throw it underneath. You're going to see him working up against Mayhew. Mayhew giving him plenty of room, making sure that he can make the play on the receiver and make the tackle. There's no way he was going to get the first down.
Well, we're not expecting a lot of offense today. The Jacksonville Jaguars 29th in the NFL, and Tampa Bay has had its problems as well offensively. Barker's punt out of bounds. They will mark it at about the 7-yard line. So Barker does his job, and we'll be right back to Tampa Bay in a moment. In the first quarter, Jacksonville and Tampa Bay having difficulties getting things started on offense. There is Mark Brunell. And now Trent Dilfer, who's had an interesting week. Really, Sam Weiss didn't make the decision until the Monday after last week's game against Detroit whether Dilfer would start. But it is the 11th straight game he started, but he has been benched a few times. And this drive begins all the way back at the 7-yard line. And Brett gets maybe a yard. But Casey Weldon always on the standby for Tampa Bay, and only 3 touchdown passes all season. And if you look at what other quarterbacks and defenses have done along with special teams, that really puts it in perspective.
It's amazing. I mean, that's a game's work for a guy like Hostetler. And here you see number 11, Casey Weldon, who is the guy who has stepped in for Dilfer should things go wrong.
He relieved Dilfer last week a couple of times, once because of an injury to the throat by Dilfer, and another time because Dilfer just did not read a blitz, and the coaches were not happy about that at all. This one complete to the far side at the 16-yard line, hauled in by Lawrence Dawsey. Travis Davis under the coverage defensively.
A good job. It was up working for Lawrence Dawsey, working up against Travis Davis, starting at strong safety this week. Just kind of like faded away to the outside, just got the separation. I think Davis, expecting him to break it back to the inside, just allowed him to get a little bit too much cushion.
Just short of the first down, will be third down and less than a yard. And they will pass. And is it caught? Yes, caught by Dave Moore. That is just the 7th catch all season for Moore, but that one good for a first down.
What an incredible job, too. Working against Harry Coleman, starting in there, the free safety today. All over. Coleman making a sweet play, but the throw and the catch between Dilfer, what an incredible play. Good concentration.
Harry Coleman, who is starting at free safety today, normally the strong safety. But Travis Davis getting his first NFL start as the safety for Jacksonville. So first down and 10 from the 20. And this is 41, Bobby Joe Edmonds on a rare carry. In fact, he's only had 3 yards rushing all season, but he gets the early carry. And here's a guy that's been out of football since 1989.
Amazing. Well, he hasn't lost much. Nice move to the outside. Real nice move to the outside.
And quickly Tampa Bay up in the Sam Weish no huddle from the 29. It'll be second down and short. And it'll be Bobby Joe Edmonds again. I wonder if something is the matter with Eric Rett, because very unusual to see Bobby Joe Edmonds run, but he does pick up the first down. We mentioned here's a guy that's been out of football since '89. In his rookie year with the Seahawks, he led the AFC with better than 12 yards punt return average, but was out of the game for, 6-7 years before coming back. Sold real estate, had a self-admitted drinking problem, said he had to get his life back on the right track, and he's done that. Really, it was a question mark whether he would even make the team. But he picks up a couple of early carries, and there gets the first down for Tampa Bay to drive alive at the 34. And here is the pitch near side. This is number 37, Jerry Ellison, brought down by Keith Goganius.
Well, Ellison is the guy that they've gone to. He had a couple of touchdowns last week. Not as many yards as Eric Rett did, but here you see him bobbling the pitch a little bit, able to finally get a hold. But we asked Eric Rett about the fact that Ellison was the guy that went in and got the touchdowns when Rett was the one getting all the yards. He goes, hey, I threw some pretty good blocks for him.
You got to wonder if Sam Weish misplaced his playbook last night. That is just the 12th rush for Ellison. You see what he did last week as he scored his first 2 NFL touchdowns, but Bobby Joe with a couple of carries and Ellison with a carry early. Second down and 7. And now here's what I guess when it's unexpected, he can do even more damage. And we'll send you to New York and Greg Gumbel for our first update. Greg.
All right, Dan, in Cincinnati, this is the opening kickoff. Steelers kicking to the Bengals. David Dunn, the crossfield lateral to Jeff Hill, who takes it 62 yards before he's knocked out of bounds. It set up a Jeff Blake to Darnay Scott touchdown pass. The Bengals are leading Pittsburgh 7-0 in the first. Dan and Bob, back to you.
All right, thank you, Greg. The Bengals looking impressive again. They are 4-6 and still very much in the hunt in the AFC Central race. And on the misdirection, this is Jerry Ellison again. They're certainly giving him more time this week. Breaks a couple of tackles, gets it all the way up into Jacksonville territory at the 33 before he's chased down by Ernie Logan.
Well, what a great run. The guy just kind of dragged it out there. And watch how he just bides his time running horizontally. You get some good penetration by the D, but he sees the gap opening. He sees the blocks develop, which is, obviously the sign of a guy who's going to be a good running back. Finds it, slashes through. But give it credit to the offensive line, too, for really stringing that out, walling off the inside linebackers and giving them that gap.
That looked a lot like his nifty 36-yard touchdown run last week. So Tampa Bay spreading it around on the ground. Not just the Eric Rett show that we expected. And movement up front. Was Jacksonville drawn off? We'll hear from Gordon McCarter. Just a beautiful day, Bob. Jam-packed stadium, and of course there's even more electricity in here because Jacksonville Jaguar fans have made the trip. There's about 10,000 of them that have made the trip. It's just a 3-hour drive.
Neutral zone infraction. Defensive left tackle in the neutral zone, causing the offense to move. 5 yards, first down.
And that penalty on Kelvin Pritchett, the former Lion.
No, that's something you want to happen at any time of the field. But right side of your screen, Pritchard just getting a little bit of early jump. And right down here, you start working in towards the end zone like this, you definitely don't want to give the offense any help.
So Tampa Bay with a 1st and 5 at the Jaguar 28. And there is Eric Rett. And Eric Rett gets inside the 25-yard line before he's brought down by Paul Fraze.
You know, one of the things that Sam Weiss told us yesterday was that as they came out in their formations today, they weren't going to do a lot of motion. They weren't going to motion people around and try to confuse the defense, but they were going to use a lot of different formations. We've seen one-back sets. We've seen one-back sets with Rett set short. We've seen two backs. We've seen Ellison deep. So they really, he's stuck to his word. He's come out with a lot of different formations.
I think he saw that game film last week in Chris Warren. 2nd and 2. And Rett explodes up the middle inside the 15-yard line. It'll be another Tampa Bay first down.
Nice blocks up front. Really just opening that front. You know, nothing fancy about this. Watch the blocks right there. 83. Dave Moore with the lead block on the linebackers, just opening up that hole. The offensive lineman just dominating the defensive front. Great blocking up front. Dave Moore, who plays in the fullback position, also plays in the tight end position, but that time fullback, great lead block.
And an injured Jaguar on the field. Rett, that was his 5th carry for 32 yards, and I guess even though he had 144 yards last week, Bob, could it be a possibility that it become a little bit too predictable with him running the football, even when he does gain big yards? We'll take a short break and be right back. 5 being mounted by Tampa Bay. It began at its own 7 and is now at the Jacksonville 13. There is the injured player, number 51, Mark Williams, the linebacker for Jacksonville. And inside the 20 this year for Tampa Bay, just a little more than half the time they come up with a touchdown. And a fake, and Dilfer the other way. Wide open was Jackie Harris, but he wasn't able to connect.
Wow, great misdirection play. They run that. He comes over to the right-hand side. What they do is they leave the receiver kind of back there, minding his own business, like he's not doing anything. Then he kind of slides out there late. You see Dilfer here? No, and I had him wide open, man. I can't believe that I missed it. And that's one of the things. Another thing that Sam Weiss said: accuracy. Accuracy has been a problem.
That may have been a touchdown had Dilfer been able to be on the mark. The fake here, the reverse to Courtney Hawkins. And Jacksonville quickly closes in at the 19-yard line. Mickey Washington is there along with a host of Jaguars.
Well, you're going to give Mickey Washington the tackle, but you also got to put it on 92, Don Davey, who got great penetration up front. As you're going to watch it come back, look at him get the penetration, forcing the runner back deep, giving Mickey Washington a little bit of time to react and come up and make the play.
So this drive appearing to sputter now. 3rd down and 17. The ball back outside of the 20-yard line. Dilfer to pass over the middle. It is complete to Alvin Harper. The field goal unit will come on for Tampa Bay, and the boos come down in the ears of Sam Weiss.
Well, you know, they talked about the short stuff and talked about trying to get the short things going to get Trent his confidence. But right here, when you're dumping the ball off the middle to Harper, Harper's not a guy that's going to break a lot of tackles once he gets the ball. And especially when you set him in the middle and dump the ball between a couple of linebackers, it is just not a high percentage play.
So Michael Husted on to attempt a 33-yard field goal. He's been struggling a little bit lately. He's missed 3 of his last 4 attempts. Weldon with a hold, and Husted punches this one through just inside the left upright. So Tampa Bay, with just over a minute to go in the first quarter, puts together a good drive, but it ends up at a 33-yard field goal by Husted to give them the 3-0 lead.
Well, you got to give them the credit. It was a long drive. They started on their own 7-yard line approximately, and just set up Trent Dilfer taking that team. And I'll tell you what, also besides Dilfer, you got to put a lot of credit on Sam Weish, too, because he told us going in he was going to change a lot of things up formation-wise and, give them some different looks, maybe confuse them. And I think that's exactly what they did. A lot of different backfield sets, a lot of different formations up front. And then you see guys like Ellison running the ball when they're expecting Rhett, and also Bobby Joe Edmonds.
Well, after the Kansas City-Dallas showdown, which comes your way on Thanksgiving, how big a game will that be? And stick around for what's become an NBC holiday tradition, Home Alone, one of the biggest comedy hits of all time, Home Alone on NBC Thanksgiving night.
Got the Jaguar defensive face after that last drive. Oh, they're playing good up front. I mean, the Jaguar defense is made up of some very good ball players who, in any time you bring in a lot of talented players, people initially say, oh, look, you got the talent. You brought in Lagerman, you brought in Paul Fraze, Schmengi, all these guys that have experience in the league. But until they've played together and worked out a chemistry, you never know what's going to happen.
Husted kicks off. And taken at the 12-yard line by Curtis Marsh. And boy, did he have a good week last week on kickoff returns. Gets this one just up to the 19-yard line, but returned kickoffs for the very first time in his career last week and averaged better than 24 yards.
But he had like 7 returns for like 169 yards.
Yeah, he had a magnificent week last week.
Set a single-game record.
The rookie out of Utah. And he gets it just short of the 19-yard line, and that's where Jacksonville will begin. He's brought down by Clifton Abraham.
Well, it's up to Brunell now to try and get something going, and it's been on his back before. We've seen the run game not really be able to light anything up, so it's going to come down to Brunell taking himself or getting the ball out to some receivers.
James Stewart is in the backfield, and he gets the toss across the 20, spinning his way up to the 25-yard line for about a gain of 6. James Stewart, first-round pick, 19th overall, the 4th running back chosen out of Tennessee.
Well, they like this guy. They've got a lot to learn, as you're going to see. Both onside linemen pulling. Nice kickout block there. Good pursuit from Culpepper on the inside, but they like the guy. He's got a lot of talent. They really put a lot on his shoulders early in the season, but they said, he's a guy that goes 100 miles an hour all the time. He's got to learn to bide his time and pick his holes and know where his blocks are developing.
Tom Coughlin told us he needs more patience. He's replaced in the backfield by Dunbar, but that just simply falls out of the hands of Mark Brunell, and a flag has come in, and there is another one that is tossed. And that is Derek Brooks, who has to drag a Buccaneer out of the fray. And down hurt is Eric Curry. And we might see a personal foul call, explained here by Gordon McCarter. That does not bode well for the Buccaneer defense. They have been beset with injuries.
I'll tell you what happens when that ball comes loose and you got a quarterback going for it and in danger. Your offensive line, your big guys on that offense are going to do whatever they can to protect him. I don't know who went for who, but it seems like Eric Curry caught the brunt of whatever the...
The result of the play was a fumble recovered by the quarterback. We have 2 fouls, illegal use of hands, number 75 defense, also a personal foul, head slap, 75 defense. The major penalty will be enforced in the dead ball spot, 15 first down.
And that will mean the end of the game for Eric Curry. Here's the play.
You see Curry working right there in the left side of your screen. The ball just coming out of Brunell's hand. But Curry working up against Tony Baselli. Let's see, 75 right there. And they're him, Whitedell, and Baselli just...
Well, you saw Sam Weish in the sideline with a face mask, and that is the punch, and he is gone.
Well, Tony Baselli grabbed Eric Curry's face mask, yanked his head down, and had it kind of tucked under. The referees couldn't see that. Eric Curry, being the guy who retaliates, and the coaches always tell you, don't swing back, because the ref is not going to see the first hit. He's going to see you retaliating, and that's exactly what they saw that time.
Saw She wanted a face mask. Instead, loses Eric Curry and another defensive star really on his team. Brunell hands off to Dunbar as the closing seconds tick off at the end of the first quarter. Tampa Bay has the lead 3-0, but they will play the rest of this game without the former first-round pick out of Alabama.
Maybe you helped and didn't know it.
Formed Eric Curry has not been thrown out of the game for the punch he just threw. He is back in the defense for Tampa Bay.
Well, there were 3 penalties here. One is the face mask by Baselli. The second one, the head slap from Curry to Baselli, and then Curry taking a shot at Dave Weidel. Unfortunately, the refs only saw the 2, the head slap and the punch, and then you see Eric Curry realizing the old saying, you don't punch a guy in the face mask with a bare hand, it hurts.
So Tampa Bay settling in on defense with Curry in Jacksonville, now with first down and 10 from the 36. Brunell is taken down, but he just gets rid of it. And it's complete to number 35, Lachey Maston. Brunell just getting rid of it. Thomas Everett on the bring down of Maston.
Good strength by Brunell. Watch a rush up inside, and he just, the nice work, number 95.
How did he get rid of that?
How did he get rid of it? Just good strength to stand in there, dumping the ball off to Lachey Maston.
Well, Curry was involved in another post-play shoving incident.
Oh, he knows he was done wrong. He knows that he didn't start it, but he was the one that was caught.
So second down and 10. And Brunell dumps it off. The screen brought down right away. Gene Stewart is brought down by number 22, Thomas Everett.
Great play by Everett. Now that's what you need from a guy who's going to come up and make a play on a screen. They're going to start. They're trying to run a game over on the right-hand side. He dumps off the screen, and before the blockers can even get set up to make a play, Everett comes in and just slashes through. You're going to watch Weidel. Weidel is the guy that's going to get the first bump, and then he's going downfield looking for anybody to hit. Usually you get a chance, they're going to go after an offensive lineman. If he has a chance, he's going to go after a little guy first.
Good play by Thomas Everett to set up the third down and 10. Brunell out of the shotgun and dumps this off near side to Maston. And Maston just gets across the 40, and that'll bring up another fourth down. Jacksonville will have to punt. Hardy Nickerson, the leading tackler, makes the stop for Tampa Bay, and we hear some positive noise from the Tampa Stadium crowd.
And I'll tell you, when they introduced him, you heard the noise then. You hear it now. They love Hardy Nickerson just dumping the screen off. And Hardy being a strong inside backer, but just great flow, great movement to the ball, and a nice hit on a big back.
Barker's punt, low wobbler. Edmonds from the 16, brought down immediately at the 18-yard line. Good special teams play turned in by Jimmy Smith. Tampa Bay with a 3-0 lead.
Ford introduces the all-new Taurus.
Of durability and consistency, Paul Gruber, 117 straight starts, ties Leroy Selman for most in Bucs history. He's the only Buck to take every snap of 95. He was the 4th player chosen overall in 1988.
I mean, they put him in the game right that first day, and they've left him there.
He's only missed 6 games. 5 were due to a holdout, and 1 because of an injury in his entire career. And getting the call up the middle is Eric Rett. And Eric Rett's across the 25-yard line, brought down by Joel Smengi.
A good miss. And the guy we talked about that there you go, Leroy Selman.
Hall of Famer, only retired number in Tampa Bay history, number 63. And there's his brother, Lucius Selman, an assistant on the Jacksonville sidelines.
Right, he's out there coaching outside linebacker for the Jaguars. I'm sure at this point he feels no loyalty whatsoever.
Dewey Selman, another one of those great Selman players for Oklahoma. And Rett gets the call. He's got first down yardage at the 35. This is more vintage Tampa Bay offense when you go Rett, and instead of the Edmonds-Ellison opportunities that we saw earlier, but Rett burns off another good game.
And they're doing a great job up in the front line. They're doing some misdirection, some down blocking. You're seeing them picking up the guys on angles, getting them all kind of catching them on the shoulder, and just really opening up the middle of that line.
Well, the offer goes again today, Bob, from Eric Brett. If he gets 125 yards, he will give each of his offensive linemen $1,000.
Now, if he goes 150 yards, $2,000.
Dilfer passing out of the pocket. That is incomplete, intended for Lawrence Dawsey. Mickey Washington on the coverage, and I don't think the Tampa fans here have been too happy about Dilfer's start today.
No, you're right. We talked about this earlier, that Sam Weiss will not hesitate to pull him out if he feels that that something's not right. But I think the fans kind of agree with Sam Weiss at this point. If they don't like what Dilfer's doing right away, they're saying put Casey in.
Well, a flag has been thrown. Perhaps illegal procedure against the Buccaneers. Gordon McCarter, of course, famous for his Polaroid stuffing in the shirt of Bill Cowher earlier.
Illegal formation. One eligible receiver covering another on the line of scrimmage. 5 yards. Repeat first down.
But I don't think that's what Gordon McCarter wants to be remembered for in his illustrious officiating career.
I wonder if when those Christmas cards do go out that if they're exchanged between Gordon and Coach Cowher.
1st and 15 for Tampa Bay. They have the 3-0 lead off of the Husted field goal. Just about 4 minutes into the second quarter. Dilfer pumps once and avoids one tackler, but he will go down at the 28-yard line, and Kelvin Pritchett will bring him down. And that will be a sack for Jacksonville.
And Dan, the problem with Trent right now is he's not seeing all his receivers. He had Eric Rett sitting out in the other flat wide open. He had a couple other guys that had gotten some separation, a little bit of pressure on his face, and Trent gets a little foot happy. He starts getting a little antsy back there. At that point, it doesn't matter what the receivers are doing. He's not looking downfield anymore.
And he does not have great mobility. Casey Weldon, a much more mobile quarterback. Here is Rett. And on a running play on 2nd down and 17, it'll bring up 3rd down and long. Let's send you to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Dan, at Washington, one
heck of a ball player for Seattle Seahawks.
Jacksonville knows all about him. He went 81 yards on a reverse last week in Jacksonville, as Seattle won that game 47-30. Dilfer, 3rd down and long, incomplete. 4th down. The punting unit will come on again for Tampa Bay. That was intended for Hawkins.
And he was covered. He had a guy behind him. He had a linebacker coming up in his face. And Trent looking right there. Really, if you watch Trent's head that whole time, he did not look too much around that field. He pretty much looked to that receiver and stayed there. It's like he pulled his primary receiver and wanted to stay there, and as he gets pulled down a little bit, tripping up after the play. But
now Jeff Lageman is the injured Jaguar. We'll check on him when we come back to Tampa in just a moment. Back in Tampa Stadium, the Buccaneers punting on 4th down. Reggie Roby will boot it away, and Desmond Howard, drifting to his left, lets this one drop inside the 20. And Tampa Bay picks it up, goes into the end zone, but they'll mark that down at the 14-yard line. That was number 26, Clifton Abraham.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. It was a good heads-up play by Abraham, because number 45, Travis Davis for the Jaguars, was one of the guys covering the Buccaneer flyer down the sideline. When the ball was punted towards the side, it almost hit Travis Davis. You're going to see over on the left side of the field right here, you're going to see Travis Davis right in the center right there, almost getting hit by the ball. Now, had that ball made contact, he's very good awareness. Pick it up, take the chance. Why not?
So the career highlight.
Desmond Howard saying, "Get away, get away."
Career highlight will have to wait. Perhaps for another time for Clifton Abraham, the rookie out of Florida State. Jacksonville begins this drive at their own 14. And Brunell, who's met with pressure as he turns, incomplete. intended for Mitchell. Derek Brooks was in his face.
A good play, good awareness on the backside. Once again from Eric Curry coming from his right end spot. You're going to see top of your screen. He's going to come through late right into the bootleg. Now, defensive linemen got to be careful. It wasn't a cheap shot, but anytime the defensive player's hand goes to the head area of the quarterback, they're going to throw a flag. That was very close.
Second down and 10. Dunbar just across the 15-yard line. That'll bring up third and long. Hardy Nickerson makes the stop, and Nickerson playing with a chipped bone in his toe, and ironically injured it while breaking the huddle last week when Santana Dotson stepped on his toe.
And I'll tell you what, you talk about a little broken toe and you think it's no big deal. Those are very painful. I had one in a New Orleans game. I asked the trainers, they shot it up with Novocaine. Couldn't feel a thing. Couldn't feel my foot touching the ground.
That would be a problem.
So I suggested to Hardy, he didn't do that.
Third down and 8 now. Brunell working out of a shotgun. And his pass complete, and it should be good for the first down to Pete Mitchell. Kenneth Gant made the stop, but not before Mitchell, the former Boston College Eagle, picks up the first down.
Well, that's Brunell dropping back into the pocket. Good awareness back there. Good body control. He has developed well as a young quarterback, and the little controversy they had early on between him and Steve Berline. Good throw to Mitchell. Gant trying to get that ball pulled out of there. Knew he couldn't come up and make the play, trying to get a turnover.
Brunell being chased from behind and brought down by number 72, Chidi Ahanotu, his second sack of the season.
Well, just persistence by Chidi. Good rush to the outside. You can see him on the right side of your screen, and left defensive end just working a nice rip. Come back underneath. Just persistence in chasing Brunell down. Right there. Nice hump move coming back underneath.
There
classic.
Is...
You could teach. That could be a teaching tape for the hump move in the rush.
There is a God. All men are created equal. Chidi Ahanotu. His parents are Nigerian.
His father's name is Austin, which means the capital of Texas. All I could figure out.
There was a God on that play, and it was Chidi. Well, under severe pressure, Brunell's able to get it out to James Stewart. But he gets just about up to the line of scrimmage and no more. We'll take another timeout, get another scoring update from Greg in New York.
All right, Dan, at New England.
All right, Greg, thank you very much. The Patriots pretty much forced themselves into a must-win situation down the stretch in every game to try to get to the playoffs. Tampa Bay here holding on to some playoff aspirations as well at 5-5. Brunell's pass complete on third down, but short of the first down is Ernest Gibbons, who hauls in his first catch. Played his high school ball in St. Pete, grew up in the Bay Area, but not able to get enough yards there.
Well, I tell you what, look at the way Brunell throws. He is so good with accuracy at placing that ball in the right place. He's been hitting receivers that have been covered very well, but he's put the ball exactly where it needed to be caught.
So the Jaguars continue to struggle on offense. Parker's punt, a pretty good one. Bobby Joe Edmonds from the 14 comes left side across the 30 and brought down at the 37-yard line. Good return by Bobby Joe Edmonds. Dave Thomas made the stop. Tampa Bay leading 3-0. We'll have another offensive start when we come back.
There are definite reasons.
Punt set up initially. Bobby Joe Edmonds taking the kick. A lot of room between him and the coverage people. As you see, then the return team setting up some very nice blocks. Luckily, Dave Thomas able to get in there and get a grab on Edmonds. But then you see Larry Pasquale, the special teams coordinator, just not happy with what happened on that last play.
Good punt return, good for 25 yards by Edmonds. He came into the ball game third in the NFC with a better than 11-yard average. Eric Rett begins this series. And there is Pasquale Pasquale, former Eagles special teams coach, now with Jacksonville.
You know, I've asked special team coaches over the last couple of years, you know, what it's like, and you know, you sit there and between team to team, the breakdown on what kind of returns you use aren't necessarily so much different. It comes down to the personnel. Who's going to go on there with that wild abandon and just sell themselves out? That's something you can't teach. You just have to find players that can do that.
Fake by Dilfer, rolls left and near sideline. He's got number 88, Horace Copeland. And Copeland is very close to the first down before he's brought down by Goganius.
Well, good sell. We've seen a couple of guys, both Trent and Brunell, try the bootlegs, and they've had defenders in their face. This time the Jaguars not leaving anybody on the backside to get into his face. There you see the pass, the throw out into the flat. Why, you know, when he's got the vision wide open like that with nobody bothering him in the bootleg, it should be an easy throw.
So they're measuring to see if Copeland picked up the first down, and he did. First down and 10 for the Buccaneers, just across their own 48-yard line. Just over 5 minutes left in the first half. Low-scoring game with two of the lower-ranked offenses in the National Football League going at it. 3-0. Tampa Bay leads it.
And Trent just needs to get some confidence. You know, even though this is his second year, he only played in a couple of games last year, so he really doesn't have that much experience.
There's Harper in motion, and they keep it on the ground to Rhett. And Rhett inside the Jacksonville Jaguar 45. We mentioned the low-scoring offenses on the field today. There's the look at the most points scored: Dallas, Chicago, and Miami. And toward the bottom of the list, you've got the expansion team and Tampa Bay.
Now that puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the defense to try and hold the other team's offense down to some minimal points.
Eric Rhett is getting closer and closer to perhaps losing more money out of his wallet. There he is again, right side. And Eric Rhett picking up the first down. He says he really likes to run on that right side behind Ian Beckles. Beckles is number 62 out of Indiana.
Well, they come out 90. They come out of the I formation. He makes an adjustment. Trent Dilfer probably seeing something in the alignment of the defense. Makes an audible at the line, and they basically run off tackle out of I formation to the right-hand side and pick up a couple of yards.
Out of the shotgun on 1st and 10. Dilfer stands in and over the hands of Alvin Harper, incomplete. There's Mike Dumas out there.
That seems to be the way it is with Trent Dilfer. He seems to get his ball just a little bit high. In fact, I was talking to Turk Schoner, one of the coaches, before the game today, and he was talking about how he hurt his shoulder. And I said, well, how'd you hurt your shoulder? And you see Trent Dilfer here after the throw. You know, he knows that he was off, but he said, well, Trent was throwing me the ball a little bit high as he usually does, and I hurt my shoulder. So, when you get it up high and you got safeties back there, you run the risk of throwing that INT all the time.
That was very close to an interception. Dilfer has 11 on the season, and caught at the 40-yard line is Rhett. And that'll bring up 3rd down and long. So what seems to be an impressive drive for Tampa Bay really has pulled up lame here at about the 40-yard line.
Well, Paul Frey's making a nice play, stepping in and playing for the injured Jeff Lageman. Frey, who also they picked up from the Jets in the expansion draft.
Update you on the injuries on Jacksonville defense. Mark Williams has a dislocated left shoulder. He will not return. Tampa Bay just 1 of 4 on 3rd downs. They need 10 here. Dilfer with plenty of time, and this time again is way off the mark. The ball is up for grabs, and now it's down loose. Incomplete. Harper was open.
Wide open.
You mentioned the high ball, Bob. That was way up there.
Harper was wide open, a guy with a lot of experience. That's why they brought him in. He's an experienced receiver. He's experienced at playoffs. Are hoping he'll teach these guys something. But again, Dilfer, you can see Harper didn't even go up for the ball. That ball was so overthrown, he couldn't even go up for it. It just became a jump ball there in the middle. You see Harper almost getting a hold of the ball at the end of the play, but the defender's able to yank it loose. But once again, Trent Dilfer just throwing it way too high.
So here's Reggie Roby again trying to drop one inside the 20. And in and out of the arms of one of the Tampa Bay special team players. That was Clifton Abraham, who had a chance to pin Jacksonville deep. Has had a good shot at a Trent Dilfer interception. That is the latest. Mike Dumas, actually Travis Davis, excuse me, the rookie out of Notre Dame, in his very first NFL start. So Jacksonville begins at the 20. They trail 3-0, approaching the 2-minute warning of the first half. James Stewart in the backfield for Jacksonville, and he'll get the first down call and get 2 yards. So it has not exactly been an offensive clinic with 2 minutes remaining in the first half. This is the shortest road trip for Jacksonville this year. Obviously, just about a 3-hour bus trip. Those folks you saw in the stands took about 100 buses to get here. There's about 10,000 of them cheering on the Jaguars. And remind you that the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime reports coming up next. Gumbel, Ditka, and Gibbs scores and highlights, and they're also exploring. Well, Dallas has lost. Who is the best team in the NFL now? That's coming up at halftime on the NFL on NBC halftime report. Brunell, pass complete to Mitchell at about the 34-yard line, and Mitchell has the first down. That was Kenneth Gant on the coverage for the Bucs, and a flag has been thrown.
The flag landed next to number 71, Tony Baselli, who was laying next to a defensive player. So I've got to say, probably holding on Tony.
71 offense, 10 yards, repeat second down.
Tony saying, no way. No way.
He's probably trying to, he's so confused as to where Brunell is. He's probably lost his concentration.
You're going to see that Baselli, the second guy on the left, taking his defender down inside, and as he tries to break back out to chase Brunell, you see Baselli pulling his guy down to the turf.
I liked his response yesterday. He says, I have no idea where Mark Brunell is back there. Well, they asked him about blocking for a running quarterback. Brunell's pass complete at the 15-yard line to Willie Jackson.
Because, you know, that's a difficult thing for an offensive lineman, is to sit back there and to block for a guy who's moving around as much as a quarterback like Brunell does.
A timeout called by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are clinging to the 3-0 lead. Did start off 0-4, but they came back to win 3 of their last 4. They've now lost 2 straight. And Tampa Bay, we mentioned at the top, got off to the 5-2 record as you look at Kevin Gilbride, the offensive coordinator for Jacksonville. But both teams, Bob, have really fallen on hard times as of late. They just are not near the football teams they were earlier.
Yeah, the Buccaneers, a lot of people felt had a chance to actually get into the playoffs in that a very difficult division.
And they still are just a game back of first place. But they have to have this game. And Brunell's pass way off the mark. That was intended for Desmond Howard, and he was covered very closely by Martin Mayhew.
Martin Mayhew having a really good game, playing very aggressively as his nature in this in playing defense. But Howard going for that ball, and Mayhew just making an incredible play, just attacking him.
So Jacksonville now just 1 of 6 on 3rd down tries.
There you see Mayhew going back, and he got such a good break on the ball that he actually just said, the heck with Desmond Howard, I'm going for the ball.
He had an interception last week and was looking for number 3 there. So Barker on again to punt. And Bobby Joe Edmonds with a chance to get Tampa Bay with excellent field position to perhaps close out the first half. He takes it at the 43, quickly into Jacksonville territory, but no farther than the 48-yard line. He's brought down by Rich Griffith. But coming up next, it's the conclusion of the Skills Challenge presented by Sun America. Two-time champion Peter Jacobson leads the entries in what really, of all the December golf events, Bob, is really the standout event. It's the Skills Challenge, and it's coming up next on NBC.
And I'll tell you what, I was surprised in a long drive that he was even able to beat out Daly. But Daly was a little bit off center on his drive, and Jacobson was able to pull it out.
So you were glued.
I actually was glued, because I sat there looking at this grid that they were hitting onto, thinking, what if I couldn't even reach the grid? Was that out of bounds, or would I just be like really?
You don't even have to think about it, because I don't think you're going to get an invite to the Skills Challenge next on NBC.
It was a slow afternoon. Sorry, Dan.
Minute 23 left. And the Buccaneers have 2 of their timeouts left. And Dilfer goes to work. Pass incomplete. Now that pass maybe should have been caught by Jackie Harris. He dropped one earlier, and maybe that was a little bit too off the mark by Dilfer. But let's take another look.
Yeah, I don't know. You're going to see Harris coming on the left side of your screen as he breaks it on a little short turn there, and he should have had it. I mean, that's an easy enough pass to catch. I mean, he's right there. He's just got to lean to his right side and just make the grab. He should have had the ball.
Second in the NFC in catches by a tight end, Novacek, the leading receiver for Dilfer, but Dilfer has been ineffective through the air. 4 of 11. Rifles this one down the middle of the field, and that is complete for a Tampa Bay first down inside the Jacksonville 30. Alvin Harper, the former Cowboy, hauls it in.
Great job, Harper. Nice move in finding an open spot between the guys. They were all zoned up. You're going to see, first of all, you're going to see Harris break it to the outside to drag some coverage with him. Takes 2 guys with him. And Harper able to just pull up between the linebackers underneath and the safeties over the top. Found a nice open spot, but they're really set up that time by Jackie Harris making that break to the outside, drawing 2 defenders with him.
Harper, of course, missed the first 3 games with an ankle injury, and Dilfer told us yesterday, he's not quite 100%, not quite the explosive ability that he had before the injury, but
he said going up for the ball really isn't his forte right now. He doesn't have the ability to just explode, to get up and get the ball and pull it down like some of the premier receivers that you see go up and work to get him.
Well, that was a rocket thrown by Dilfer for the first down. Minute 8 left. Buccaneers with a 3-0 lead. They've just taken another timeout, so they are down to 1. Trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. Preceding that was a 4-game winning streak, which got them to 5-2.
There's 4 wide receivers.
And Dilfer's on the mark again inside the 15. And inside the 5-yard line is Harper. And the clock rolling, less than a minute left.
Once again, a real nice cleaning route. They had Lawrence Dawsey set to the inside, Harper set to the outside. Dawsey's going to make a quick move. You can see Dawsey there on the inside, break to the outside, take the coverage with him, cleaning a zone right there. Harper throwing that quick slant route. A defender really has to be able to react up quickly to that. But in a situation like this, as they're sitting back and trying to keep them keeping them out of the end zone, you're going to give them a little room, but they got to react up defensively a little bit harder than that. You see Harper very excited to get back into. A guy like him, as competitive as he is, coming from a competitive program like the Cowboys, suffering the injuries, you know that he's just dying to just explode, to just have things happen, to get that excitement back again. And you can see it starting to develop here for him.
First round pick by the Cowboys back in '91, the 12th overall player picked. Unrestricted free agent pickup by Tampa Bay after 4 years with Dallas. And the offense goal to go for Tampa Bay this season 13 times, and they've got 10 touchdowns. They lead at 3-0, trying to add more to their lead before the first half expires. And the handoff, Eric Rett, and maybe a yard, but no more before Joel Smengi, the left end, put the clamps on it. And the Buccaneers out of timeouts. Clock continuing to roll. Second down and goal. Ball on the 3. Dilfer rolling right, just throws this in the back of the end zone. It'll be incomplete. That was Vinnie Clark who caught it, but he was well behind the end zone marker. And a flag has been thrown. And Dilfer indicating that it's against Jacksonville.
Alvin Harper walked back over to Trent Dilfer after that play.
Late arm blow, half the distance, automatic first down.
That is a big, big penalty on Tom Coughlin's team. Roughing the passer so they get first down.
Yeah, they come up and make a contact with him a little bit late, and it isn't so much that they make the contact, but the referees at that point are making a judgment call on how much force is being used after the play has ended. A lot of times you'll see a guy bump a guy and the quarterback will fall down, but they kind of gauge how much force is used to make the hit.
Smengi, the former Saint, picks up the penalty. They move the ball half the distance, and now it is first down and goal from the 1, just outside of it with 22 seconds left. And Eric Rett hits into the end zone for the touchdown. And a little scuffle follows the touchdown between Armstrong and Fraze.
Well, a little bit of distraction, not much, as you see prior to the snap, a lot of shifting, guys moving around. And then just a basic handoff right up the middle. That comes down to the linebackers. You see number 90, James Williams, waiting on the goal line. As a middle linebacker in that situation, you can't be on that side of the goal line. You've got to be attacking that line of scrimmage.
9th touchdown on the season for Rett, all on the ground. And Husted set to tack on the extra point. And Tampa Bay gives this game somewhat of an offensive look with a pretty good drive capped off by the 1-yard run by Rett.
Well, Eric Rett, a nice run, and that was wide open. That was given to him by his offensive line, and again, should the yardage pile up for him, he will be giving back to his offensive lineman. As you said, for 125 yards, he gives $1,000. For a 150-yard game, he gives $200,000.
He's got a big contract, but
$1,000 to each of his offensive linemen. And we kind of like posed the question last week. He had 144 yards against the Lions. We were wondering, perhaps, Eric, did you fall down there at the end?
He was quick to point out that he
kind of shook it off.
And also quick to point out that, hey, you know, this ends up being a little bit more than, he goes, this is better than the Rolexes.
The Rolexes that Emmett gets.
Emmett Smith of the Dallas Cowboys hands out. He goes, this is cold cash here we're talking about. Well, he's got 69 yards already.
Because I've known a lot of offensive linemen, Dan, and a lot of them don't look like Rolex kind of guys.
Pretty impressive scoring drive. Just a minute, 5 plays, 48 yards. So just 18 seconds left at Tampa Stadium. The Buccaneers out front 10-0. Husted has accounted for the other 3 points the Bucs have scored on a 33-yard field goal in the first quarter. And I imagine Jacksonville and offensive coordinator Kevin Gilbride will have some discussions in the locker room about trying to get the offense back on track. Curtis Marsh is just enveloped.
Great coverage
at the 7-yard line. Well, next Saturday, legendary head coach Eddie Robinson leads his Grambling State Tigers against the Jaguars of Southern University in the Bayou Classic, and it also features that spectacular Battle of the Bands at halftime next Saturday at 2 o'clock Eastern Time on NBC. And Bob, we were trying to figure out how many years Robinson has been coaching, but we just said it sounds like he's got like over 10,000 wins right now. I mean, he has been around forever.
Well, wasn't it? About a month or so back, he got his 400th win, I believe it was.
Well, these Jaguars looking for just their 4th win in their young history. And with 13 seconds left and trailing by 10, Brunel will roll out safely to the left. We haven't seen him run a lot this game, but he gets out to the 12-yard line just for about a gain of 2. And that stops the clock with 5 seconds left. Warren Sapp made the stop.
And a simple out of bounds, running out of bounds, almost looked like it got him injured. You're going to see him. You know, they came with a 3-man rush, so there really wasn't anybody there. Sapp at the end, just with a big old meat hook, getting a shot in the chest and then wrapping up the legs. But Sapp, #1 draft choice this year, came in, and you know they tried to throw him in a little bit early in the season, get him some experience, but it's difficult for a defensive lineman to make the adjustment. So they pulled him out for a little bit, and they've been having Santana Dotson be the man.
And Brunel escapes the pressure, rolling to his right, stops in his tracks, and he will be thrown down at the 15-yard line as time runs out, and it's Warren Sapp, 12th overall player picked in the draft out of Miami. Bucks traded down to get him, and he caps off the first half with a tackle of Brunel. But it is Tampa Bay which has the lead at halftime, 10-0, and we'll be sending you to our NFL on NBC studios in New York right after these matches.